Welcome to all of you. We'll start with our regular prayer. I request Sanjay Banerjee to have a prayer.
Namaste everyone. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sah Veeryam Sarvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
Namaste and welcome to all of you. Today's webinar is by Shri.Ajay ji Phatak. We came to know about him because he is the alumni of Jnana Prabodhini, a very famous institute from Pune. And as some of you know that Vivekananda Kendra and Jnana Prabodhini, we have a institutional relationship for more than 50 years. Their founder Pensi and our founder Eknathji Ranade, they were contemporaries. And fortunately, the next generations also we continue to keep contact with each other, and that is how we came to know about Ajayji Phatak. Before Kaustubh introduces Ajayji Phatak, I will request Madan to inform the audience, because some of them are new for the first time, that joining the webinar. Tell them something about VK Nardep and our Vasudha exhibition. Over to Madan.
Thank you, Vasudevji, for that. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. A special welcome to our Ajay Phatak ji, who has joined us. Basically, to give a prelude and also for the guests who have newly joined with us on this date. We are happy to welcome on this date. So, Vivekananda Kendra Nardep, above all, Vasudevji, everybody would be aware of his presence and his service, which everybody would be knowing in the field of renewable energy and appropriate technology. In the latest value addition in this Vivekananda Kendra Nardep, which it strives for living in tune with nature, is the Vasudha. Vasudha is basically a digital exhibition platform created to showcase a practical, relatable examples of sustainable living. So what we have done is to have a digital exhibition where simple real world actions in terms of how do we see in our lifestyle, making small things makes a difference in terms of reducing waste, in terms of saving resources, in terms of adopting eco-friendly habits. So we are presented in a visual, accessible and grounded in everyday's experience. Our team, Kutralam, and all our people who have been working group members have added their significant experiences and their thoughts in shaping this. In fact, this is the 162nd meeting. In fact, 3 years have passed. Vasudha has been a meeting point for practitioners, educators, field workers, and sustainability enthusiasts. So these regular gatherings have given a great outputs in terms of bringing out 3 Kendra Patrikas, coffee table books, and a much more informative sharing, peer learning has taken place, where each and every one of us share and learn from each other and share their insights and explore how individual choices can evolve into a larger ecological practice. This continuity, a month after month, a year after year, has made Vasudha not just an exhibition, but a living forum of practice. Today, as a part of this ongoing journey, we are very proud to invite Mr. Ajay Pathakji to deliver a resource lecture and interact with all of us. In fact, as a prelude, before we go to introduction of Ajay Pathakji, we are having a trainers of trainers program for the people who would like to, the practitioners who would like to be a catalytic agent in pursuing this lifestyle. So, in the coming month, December 22nd to 26th, we are having this program at Vivekananda Kendra, Kanyakumari, where the practitioners, Dilip Kulkarni ji, and the working group members will come over there and participate, share, and make a mutual learning in this process to see that how this becomes a movement as such.
So I request Kaustubh to introduce Ajay Pathak.
Thank you, Vasudevji. Uh, I have known Ajay Dara for quite a long period now. I've been working with him for different domains. There are a lot many things where we cross our paths. Uh, I call him a very passionate person who works in the domain of ecology, sustainability, and topics that are very close to our hearts. So he is basically a currently serving as a trustee and faculty member at Ecological Society of India, and it's a organization which is into a domain of environment, energy, and ecological aspects. Uh, he's also on the board of Terre Policy Center, where and he's also a teacher or visiting faculty at Symbiosis SCMHRD for teaching these subjects. Uh, he is a kind of person who works in all these domains. He's passionate and teaches people with all the enthusiasm he has. He also mentors people like Pastorji told right now, and he has been awarded for his work as a Distinguished Service Award from IIT Bombay. He's a very proud alumnus of IIT Bombay and also Jnana Prabodhini, the school where also I belong to. He is also founder director for Jnana Prabodhini Alumni Foundation, where we collaborate together and work for the society at large. So apart from his academical background and ecological work, he also has mentored various companies and is co-founder and director for multiple such companies. He has also worked with companies, big companies like Harman and Samsung in his career. He is currently co-founder and director of Trans Vitals, which is a kind of AI based company working in the domain of health sector. It's a health tech company. Uh, it's for remote monitoring of patients. It's a remote monitoring system for patients, and so basically such companies where he has worked. Very passionate person. Just a minute, please. So not only about ecology but also about engineering that he has his expertise into. So very passionate person, and he's advisor to the Dastur Energy, where the companies uh, work related to carbon abatement strategies and energy transition pathways is something that he is addressing to. He's consulting to the company. He's also advises multiple startup companies in this healthcare domain, environmental domain, and electronics domain. Uh, what can I say? I mean, he's a person who has actually has a lot of out of the box thinking capabilities and is guiding and mentoring companies in his different capacities. Uh, Apart from that, he's a passionate about nature, and he's a also health enthusiast. As he calls himself, he's a ultra cyclist, amateur person, and kind of people. What we can say. Uh, Very passionate about people, interacting with people. Many of us, like many of the people from our school and apart from our school, also he has mentored and guided for in the careers and domain of sustainability. So I welcome Ajay over here. Stage is yours.
Me share my screen. The topic of today's session is what I call as life cycle analysis or life cycle assessment. And we are going to take a very simple example of teacup. And I call this example or case study storm in a teacup, so that we really understand what is the real cost of the chai we drink, every day. So I will present my screen. So you can see, just a cup of chai, and what the way I would like to get some feedback from you is, what do you see when we talk about a cup of chai in terms of what has gone in? What all do we need to make a cup of chai? And that's what we are going to talk a little bit about, right? And that is what I call as the hidden environmental journey of your daily cup of chai. What does it really take to make one perfect cup of tea? Now take a look. Take a look at the screen. This is what many of us really want in our chai. We want masalas, we want elaichi, we want lavang, we want dalchini, and of course, tea essentially means that you are talking about tea leaves or tea dust, whatever you have. You also need sugar, you need milk, you need water, you need heating, and whatnot. Now, if you really start looking at what all has gone into a cup of tea, and we can take one example at a time. Let's say that we are looking at the tea leaves that go into our cup of tea. We start thinking, we start questioning, where do these tea leaves come from? And then we start imagining the lush gardens of Munnar, the lush gardens of Darjeeling or Assam, and we feel that we are taking something from nature, but that is something which is natural. Just so that we know, most of the tea gardens were actually planted by Britishers some 150 or 200 years ago. And most of them were actually at the expense of the forest that existed at those places. So, number one is our tea is what we drink every day is at the expense of something else that we must be cognizant of. These tea leaves, let's assume that that's all right. We made a trade-off and we decided that we are going to plant these tea trees. If you have actually seen the tea trees, they are almost 100-150-year-old trees, and they continue to be. You keep plucking the leaves, and the new leaves keep growing. So let's assume that we decided that we would like to have tea instead of tea trees instead of forest, and we are going to consume this. What happens next? These tea leaves are picked up by people who do not necessarily work in the best of the conditions. So we need to understand that they spend their hours. Of course, there is a benefit of a kind where we say that they actually earn their livelihood through that particular employment, but it's not necessarily the best employment that one can seek. The tea leaves actually then are moved in trucks to the factories nearby. Now that if that I talked about transport, we already know that when we talk about transport, a lot is involved. We need vehicles which are made in factories. We need steel which is made in steel mills. To make steel, you are going to need coal, which is mined in coal mines. Coal mines happen to be in jungles, and again, we are talking about essentially impacting nature when we talk about even making a single vehicle which is going to transport our tea leaves. In the process of transportation, we also use minerals. We use mineral oil. We need crude. We need diesel. We need petrol. So we are going to need these pieces of material, fuel, energy before these tea leaves move from the field to the tea factory. Tea factory, again, you are going to cure this. For the purpose of curing, you need hot air. You need conveyor belts where you run motors. The tea leaves continue to be dried in the process. You again need additional energy. You are going to need additional components, machinery, and whatnot. The point I'm trying to make is just to get the tea powder that we get in our shops, we actually go through a whole lot of process. And every step we are actually dependent on nature. We are dependent on good weather, good climate, which is required for cultivating tea. We have actually displaced or removed the original forest or jungle which there was at those places for planting these tea trees. We need material of all kinds before we are able to transport these tea leaves to the factories. And then again, packaging and distribution requires additional transport and additional material. Let's assume that we accept that, right, of course, for us to live good life, we are going to need all these things to be done, and we accept for some reason, good or bad, that these tea leaves should then we go and purchase these tea leaves from our shop nearby. What happens next? So let's look at what happens next. The philosophy behind the leaf is what we just talked about, right? It's making chai is not just brewing a beverage. We are actually looking at nature to provide everything that we really need before we actually can even procure tea leaves from a nearby shop. So take a look. Let's assume that Ravi is a friend or owner of a garden in Darjeeling. What does the tea plant demand from its environment? Is also a question that we should ask. So it needs water. It sometimes even needs pesticides. It will need a very specific type of climate and weather. If that is disturbed, our tea quality suffers. So we are actually taking all these things from nature before we actually are able to grow the tea as well. These are some of the gardens we see. We believe and see that these are, wonderful sites for us to enjoy. Um, Even the tea leaves, the tea flowers are so beautiful. If you actually have visited a tea garden, we really feel great that we have been able to cultivate these gardens in such beautiful places, and they look so beautiful. While they look beautiful, and that's very nice, we need to understand what I call as an underbelly of the tea garden, and that's why all these discussions and all this information that I wanted to provide. Another very important part is that just to get something, and this is not just true about tea, it is true about every food product that we get, really speaking. uh, Agriculture, for that matter, initially was an assault on nature, and we continue to believe that agriculture is the best thing that the humans could have done. Of course, it's a trade-off for human civilization the way it has developed, but originally agriculture happened only when we said that we want to destroy forests or clear forests, which essentially meant that all the creatures that were living in the forest, all the microorganisms that were there in the soil, in that forest, we are getting all our food at the expense of all these organisms. And the same thing is true about the tea as well. So essentially, there is a statement which is very profound, and I actually I like to provide that as an input to all who would like to listen about this whole aspect of sustainability, all aspect of environment. Is that when we are talking about clearing forest for our food, we are depriving all these species, all other life forms who were present on that piece of land for our own sake. We are diverting sun's energy that are available to be used by all these life forms only for our use. And that's exactly what happens when we talk about any agricultural output, agricultural crop, including, of course, a simple thing like tea. We also need a lot of water, as you know. It's not just about energy. It's about water requirement all the time. Like I talked about tea, I would also like to give you a very simple number. If you some of us drink soft drinks, right? So we drink Coca-Cola, or we drink or even bottled water for that matter. A simple 1 liter bottle of Coca-Cola is equivalent to 157 liters of drinking water. So in the process of making cola, all you need 157 liters of water. Or if you're talking about drinking 1 liter of bottled water, which is, we feel that it's clean and clear, but we essentially are consuming 19 liters of water in the process of 1 liter of bottled water. So if we understand,
Type here,
I
Nitin.
think it would be nice if all of us, all of you can be on mute. I think there is a lot of background noise.
Nitin Deshpande, please close, keep it mute. Nitin, please make it new mute.
Okay.
You are disturbing. Continue, Ajay, continue.
All right, I will continue. I hope that everybody is able to hear me.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
yes.
We listen to. We listen to.
Okay, all right. So I'll continue. So what I was essentially saying was that I was giving you an example of what is called as the water footprint. You need, as much as you need energy, you also need water. As much as you need other materials, you need water in every process of making any product, right? And I gave you an example of cola, where we talked about 157 liters consumed in making just a liter of cola, or 19 liters consumed just making 1 liter of bottled water. Now, we need to be cognizant of this bounty that is provided by nature to all of us. Then look at dairy. Look at the milk we drink. The milk we drink, or the milk products that we use, milk that we are going to use in our cup of tea, comes from dairies, and dairies, unfortunately, are look like this, right? Where we have captive cows drinking captive some kind of a food that they otherwise would want to go around and eat, nice fresh grass. Um, they need a lot of water, they need a lot of manpower, they need a lot of energy. Most of the new modern dairies actually don't even use, people don't take milk out of cows, but these machines do. So you need additional machines, you need process, you need pasteurization, you need steam, you need energy, and you need machinery. So just to get a pouch of milk that we are going to use to add to our milk, this all of this process is involved. You need to grow grass so that it is available for our cows to eat. The grass doesn't, in many of the cases in India, the grasslands are not necessarily natural. While there are some grasslands which are indeed natural, there are places where people have cleared forests or burnt forest for the purpose of fodder, right? So again, we are talking about similar assault on nature when we try to get our next pouch of milk. Now that we have this set of components available, there is a complete milk processing chain, right from fresh milk to the milk that is available to us. Several materials are being used, whether they are plastic bags to package milk, whether they're pasteurizing machines or heat exchangers required for processing milk so that it can stay fresh and the shelf life can increase, and so on. Let's come to sugar. Sugar is, many of us want, a spoon of sugar in our tea. Um, how many of us know which are the main places where sugarcane is cultivated? Anybody knows?
Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, some
Right.
part of UP.
Right. Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu are definitely, and UP, these are three, four states which cultivate sugarcane. Um, Actually, very interestingly, a lot of sugarcane in Maharashtra is cultivated where there is the water, in fact, otherwise wouldn't have been available if we did not have canals. So we are actually diverting water to places where sugarcane need not be cultivated, uh, for the purpose that it can now be cultivated. A good example is Baramati near Pune. Baramati, for that matter, does not really have good access to water if the canal, the Mulamutha canal, was not available to supply that water to that town, right? And not just that, the quantity of sugar that is made in our country, large part of this sugar actually goes to what we call as food processing industry. It is not necessarily just for our one spoon of sugar which goes into our teacup, but it actually is supplied to the food processing industry. And we already know that the processed food, all the health sector keeps telling us that do not eat processed food, but we have a food processing industry which consumes all the sugar, and this sugar consumes all the water. The amount of water a simple 1 kg sugar consumes is enormous, and that comes through the watering of sugarcane, and we need a lot of water to grow sugarcane. Not just that, but even in terms of processing sugarcane to make sugar, you need a lot of both energy and water. So this is a typical sugar mill, and you will see that this sugar cane, what you see this on the trucks, comes from far and wide. Many of the sugar mills in Maharashtra happen to be in southern and western part of Maharashtra. Much of the sugar cane comes from places like Baramati or any other places which are a little bit further off, at least couple of hundred kilometers off the sugar mills. So there is a lot of transport required. You need to crush these sugarcane to get the juice out of it, evaporate this. So you will see that a lot of resources are required to convert sugarcane into sugar that we want to put in our next teacup. You will realize that the sweet that all of us or many of us really like is a it comes from a lot of complexity. There is a background that we must understand, that that little sugar that we consume is not as trivial or as inaccurate, what we call, as we see. You need a lot of transformations. We talked about these transformations in terms of converting right from growing sugarcane to making sugar out of the sugarcane. So it's a fairly complex process. A lot of engineering goes into it, machinery goes into it, energy goes into this, and of course a whole lot of water. So now you see that in a kitchen where we are boiling water and putting this tea into this boiling water, uh, brewing tea, getting that into our teacup, adding a little bit of milk, adding a little bit of sugar, and serving actually is a lot more complex than what we feel or what we know. And one of the reasons why we behave the way we behave is because what I call as opacity of all the machinery and infrastructure that provides us what we really are provided for. So on one side, we believe that civilization essentially means that we will continue to make products, we will continue to innovate, and we will continue to consume all this, which is all right. Every person or every human being actually goes through this process of consuming. The act of living itself means that there is consumption that is necessary. But now we have to at least look at and understand that whether what we are consuming is really necessity or it is convenience. Many times, for example, when somebody goes from his home to office, many of us continue to use vehicles, four wheelers, cars, as regulars without even thinking what are we really doing to nature. Now, this is just an example through a very simple product, which is tea. Every day morning, most of us drink tea or a cup of coffee, and the journey of this tea and coffee is something that I wanted to bring to the table. and open this more for questions.
But then you please anchor this question answer session.
Sure. So, as I said, that one of the key things that I talked about, and I will like to explain that a bit, is about what is the impact of agriculture. Agriculture, as you know, started some 10,000 years ago or so. So it's not really, if you look at the human history, we are here as Homo sapiens for 2 million years on this planet. Of that, 10,000 years ago, we talked about initiating agriculture, and initial agriculture was very simple. It was at places where we didn't really need to clear our forests or any of the land. We used the floodplains in seasons when there was no flood, for the purpose of growing whatever grain or fruits or vegetables that we grew over a period of a lot of time. But as population grew, again because of agriculture, we started clearing forests, and that's where the challenge lies. So my question to you is: if tomorrow you had a choice of drinking tea, which is with milk or without milk, what would you choose, and why?
It will be without sugar, without milk, and very little of tea powder.
Right.
And perhaps a pinch of adrak will be all right, ginger.
And what is the reason for that? Why would you choose that, apart from the health reasons?
But I'd like to add this one also. It's extremely tasty,
Yes.
more tasty than the milk one. That's the reason.
Okay.
The second thing is, as you rightly pointed out, if a simple thing like tea has got such a background of ecological problems or the complexes which are there, I personally feel if we become aware of all the things which are consuming, I think we'll definitely take steps so that our consumption becomes less. Number one. Second thing is, how will the consumption become less? Only when our greed decreases. This for example, in Kerala, 50% of the sugar consumption has reduced to 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because it is diabetic capital, as they say. But more than that, the youngsters have stopped drinking tea. But unfortunately, they have increased the processed food. So uh, I do not know. But as far as I'm concerned, I feel that just this small example which you gave, I think it'll help me to reduce my greed further. Thank you.
So I think as we understand the footprint, what we call the ecological footprint of simple things, the products that we use, the products that we consume, we start understanding better, and hopefully we are able to make certain changes in the way we live. And that's, I mean, I'm sure that Dilip Kaka has been here and is very closely associated with Vivekananda Kendra, and he is kind of an epitome of how one can live without most of the things that most of the modern people, including me and including many of us, continue to consume. Um, but the point is that if we are in a position to continue and provide and create this awareness about products, the way the products are made, there are opportunities of consuming products very differently. And I give you another example, just that we are talking about it. Uh, let's say that we are talking about moving from one place to another. What is the best way, if we knew that energetically this is the best way to move from one place to another? We at least would start thinking that whether I should use that way or something else. So today, just to complete this story, uh, if you look at car, the car actually moves one person many times who is maybe 60 or 70 kg with a car's weight of anything between 1500 kg to 3500 kg, you are essentially talking about less than 5% of the weight actually of a person wanting to move from place A to place B using and actually moving 20 times the weight from no particular reason, right? That means that it's a that's 5% efficiency. Multiply that by 25% efficiency of converting petrol, that is chemical energy, to kinetic energy, and we land up with just 1% of efficiency of a car in really achieving what we wanted to achieve, which was moving from place A to place B. Now, once we know this, we will start asking, oh, then can I do different? Can I, walk? Is it better that I just walk and don't use anything else? Can I use a bicycle which probably just weighs 10, 15, 20 kgs and effectively, there is no additional fuel required? Can I use that for moving short distances? So simple things like this become possible once we start understanding the real nature of how we consume. So even I would not say that we will continue to live without consuming anything, but at the same time, if we are very clear and transparent about where things come from, what all is taken from nature before these things come and become available to us, then we start behaving a little bit differently as people who start knowing. And what I say is, ye parda hatana hai. We essentially are saying that we look at it in front of this curtain. Once we remove this curtain, we know this world of how things are made, what are things are being extracted from nature. We start automatically thinking differently. So all of us now, if we are 25 here, if we are able to, each of us can talk to another 20, 25 people, I think we would have done a good job by making sure that this awareness spreads and therefore our behavior can shift in the right direction. Any other questions of any kind are most welcome. The most standard question I get is, how can we live in this modern world without consuming? And that's why I preempt saying that consumption is definitely something that will happen, but what we consume and how we consume is certainly in our hands.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Namaste, Ajay Pathak ji. Thank you very much for your illuminating talk. And really, it makes us to think. But when your biodata was being introduced, I found that you are into AI assisted healthcare and all those things also.
Yes.
So I'd like to take this, opportunity to ask you that have you considered the energy that goes behind making AI available?
Yeah, good question. And I would definitely like to respond to that. Absolutely. AI, from an energy footprint perspective, is almost criminal to talk about it. Having said that, there are mechanisms whereby this enormous amount of energy that you are consuming can be reduced to a minuscule if you move this whole idea from the way we are consuming energy in what is called large language models to small language models. And that means that we use only the data that is very relevant to our problem space within our capacity and use it for the specific application, thereby curtailing and minimizing the requirement of energy. And again, as I said, that all of these endeavors, whether whichever industry that you go to, are going to require material and energy. Our endeavors have to be, how can we do that to the minimum possible things, and how can we not fall prey to largesse in consumption, including artificial intelligence.
Thank you, but I am not sure if such small language models are readily available as on date. And as I understand, Sridhar Bembu has been pointing this out, And all other AI experts have been pointing this out that it's not really, good for humanity to rely on AI because simply because of its energy consumption.
You are absolutely right. I mean, I concur with you that relying on artificial intelligence, if you just consider the current state of artificial intelligence, is absolutely terrible. We expect that just in 10 years, the 10% of world's energy consumption might just go into AI. And that's certainly not something that all of us want. And that is why I gave you an example where you can really speaking limit the requirement of this. When we talk about AI today, we only talk about large language models and the amount of energy that it is consuming. But I think there is a lot of effort going on to see how we can do AI differently, if at all we really, really need that. And I am with you in saying that whether we really need it is a question that we should ask.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Rashmi, you want to ask something? Rashmi Bakshi, and then Jagdish ji.
हाँ नमस्कार
Namaste.
हेलो
Hello, hello.
सर सुन सकते हैं आप हेलो
Hello.
हाँ 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 अजय पाठक जी नमस्ते
हाँ नमस्ते.
एक्चुअली ये जो आपने जो एनर्जी एफिशिएंट जो चीज़ें बताई हैं वो किस तरीके से जीना चाहिए इसका एक आई ओपनिंग थोड़ा सा हमको समझ गया. वन मोर थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू शेयर इन दिस डायरेक्शन कि हमारा हमने जो है हम एक डिसेंट्रलाइज तरीके से थोड़ा सा जीने की दिशा में जाएंगे तो हम ज़्यादा एनर्जी एफिशिएंट रहेंगे ऐसा मुझे लगता है क्योंकि थेरोटिकली वॉट एवर यू टोल्ड इट इज स्लाइटली डिफिकल्ट 100% to achieve. And one model I would like to share with all those who are present over here that we are running one model wherein we are having one family farmer और हमारा 5 जनों का अर्बन लोगों का एक ग्रुप है और फैमिली फार्मर हमारे हम बाजार में सब्जी लेने के लिए जाते नहीं है और अनाज लेने के लिए जाते नहीं है. वो अल्पभूधारक है और ये इस तरीके से डिसेंट्रलाइज तरीके से हम हमारा अनाज लगभग सीजनल रीजनल तरीके से हम मैनेज करते हैं. तो ये मुझे ऐसा लगता है आपका टॉक सुनने के बाद कि हमारी दिशा बहुत ही सही है और हम तो दावा करते हैं शायद ये हमारा यूनिक मॉडल है. कहीं होगा तो मुझे और भी आनंद होगा और कभी चाहे तो हम उस पर भी मैं आपसे पर्सनल आके मिलूंगी. बहुत सारा डेटा है और हम बहुत कुछ शेयर कर सकते हैं. इस प्रकार से लोग भी इस मॉडल को मल्टीप्लाई कर सकते हैं. थैंक यू सर.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing and we would like to know more about आपका जो मॉडल है आप शेयर कर दीजिए. आप वासुदेव जी के साथ भी शेयर कर सकती हैं और फ्यूचर में if the topic is broadly appealing, I think it is possible that we would like to hear you on this type of a forum as well at some point in time.
Thank you, sir.
Jagdish ji.
Yes, Ajay ji, pranam. Ajay ji, pranam. Pranam to all. Ajay ji, on a lighter note, I would say that you snatched the joy which we were enjoying with a cup of tea, but for a good reason. And one small example demonstrates, how much is the impact. One first question was that we need Bluetooth connectivity, right? So do you get it if you are trying to, for all experimentation and all that in the remote places, what's the position whether we get Bluetooth connectivity or we will have to wait for Elon Musk's, that satellite kind of connectivity, which will improve this type of.
So just to, clarify from a technical perspective, Bluetooth connectivity is something which is local, which means that, your phone can connect to a speaker or the sensor, which is, looking at your heart rate can connect to your phone. So this is a local connectivity. That's not really a problem issue that you're really talking about. What you are talking about is long distance cellular connectivity. So for
Yes,
example, 3G, 4G, etc. So
yes,
fortunately, a very large part of our country is covered with minimum connectivity. I would not call it, the type of connectivity you can enjoy in Mumbai or Delhi, you can enjoy in a remote place. But it is now possible that it can provide you minimum connectivity. And that minimum connectivity is good enough, especially for these remote health monitoring purposes, whereby you are able to provide the health data, not the images, but the real data that you capture using sensors. For example, the type of work that we do can be
yes.
transported using this minimum, even 2G connectivity for that matter. And this is pretty much available in at least 90% of even rural India.
Okay. Yeah, my another question or sort of a proposal was just now Rashmi ji was talking about selecting a model, sort of a group of five, families and some. So what I feel is that why not? I mean, the on the sustainability part and the example you gave about the sugarcane and sugar and tea preparation and how much impact it makes. So why not construct a model village populated by volunteers selected from a diverse background and professions, and in this village sustainable lifestyle should be implemented with careful monitoring of the effects on the environment as well as the psychological and physical well-being of the participants.
Hmm.
So that will become a very useful data for further experiments and implementing certain uh, new technologies.
Hmm.
Just now, we are in the defense mode. While attacking a problem which you were describing, we normally go into a defense mode and try to then solve the problem. Instead, we go into the little attacking mode and have a complete paradigm shift in our ideas. We are so much conditioned the way we have been living for, as you said, 10 thousands of years of agriculture and maybe millions of years of our existence on the earth. So something very different this thing, and to prove that to the world that this works and doesn't harm, it's a win-win situation. We
Hmm.
can construct this model village
Hmm.
where all sorts of experiments can be done.
A good thought. And for that matter, something similar experiments like this are happening in Hivre Bazaar near
Yes.
in Purandar or Annaji ke jo hai Ralegan Siddhi. So there are some experiments. One of the challenges that has been we understand the challenge from these experiments is there is a very strong requirement of local leadership, and
Yes.
local leadership who really believes in this whole idea of sustainability or prosperity without really damaging nature is something which has to be ingrained in the local leadership, and they should be willing to take that up. Going from outside and doing and trying to tell them is, I mean, I particularly see, and based on how much ever experience that I have, it doesn't work for a long time. Till the time that person is there, things happen. I know one of my good senior friends from the institute spent almost all his life in Nandurbar district. Until the time he was there and doing this, everything was going all right. Last 3 years, he's not there, and things are almost fallen apart. So we have
Yes.
to be cognizant of some of these challenges that we will face when we talk about these kind of models to be established at different places. And that is why I continue to believe that this aspect of contributing to leadership development, or what I call a leadership in sustainability at the local level, would actually might go a long way.
Yeah. Okay. One last this thing. One very abstract thought. I mean, it's very very abstract, but try to please understand. Because of AI, maybe we can decode this. Now, like the thing is that see, we have decoded the this thing, the conversation that goes on in animals, in some animals, that was what they are trying to communicate to us. that language we have decoded with respect to maybe dogs and some other animals. I mean, with the help of AI and with research, if we can decode the language the nature is trying to communicate with us, all these pancha mahabhuta, like water, air, and rivers and sea and trees and plants. So we will get, beforehand we will get, what they, if they are in real trouble and they are undergoing, because otherwise then the nature react in a very vicious and very forceful way, and then it tries to rebalance what wrong has been done with the nature. So instead of that, if we can understand from the nature from time to time, and it will be a good guidance from nature, that how we should live, in harmony with the nature.
Right.
Yeah, that's all my
Okay.
questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir. Any other questions or comments?
Ajay, I have one.
Sure.
Since we talked about the tea story over here,
Mhm.
a random question: uh, does this GI tagging that we usually do for various kind of local or geography specific products,
Mhm.
is it actually helping or kind of causing harm to environment?
Uh, interesting question, Kaustubh. And let me just talk about this whole idea of GI tagging. Why GI tagging? Where GI tagging is helpful and where it may not be helpful. If you really look at our current economic system, it's all about markets, right? So fundamentally, I personally question this current economic system. But if we do not question it for the time being, then GI tagging is going to be a little bit helpful because it specifically provides for the speciality and value for a particular product from a particular market, and correspondingly provide economic opportunities for those who do not have them today as well as they should be. So to that extent, there is a value to GI tagging. Now, having said that, as I said, that because of the current economic system, it is possible that because of that act itself, we people will start try and produce a particular product from their geography far more than what the geography can support, and that eventually can lead to uh, weird problems which come because of the simple reasons of monoculture, and which we are now seen. We are still to correct it, but we are now seen, and we have done at least a few experiments in all over, for that matter, all over the world, not just in India, to see how adding diversity helps in protecting nature. So GI tagging on one side, it's good in the current economic system to provide better value for their products today, but it can prove to be a problem in the long term if the scale is not managed. I hope you have answered your question halfway. I think it
Yeah.
needs a longer answer than this, but we can meet and talk about it.
Yes. Yes.
Kaustubji, just an explanation building on Ajayji's.
Yeah.
One thing is, I have been, our Dawn Foundation has been instrumental in getting a GI tag for Madurai Malli. So the idea is the GI tag calls for a community organization to have a rights for the whole thing and not as an individual as such. So the geographical area has been taken as a whole thing of Madurai district, which includes Ramnad and Virudhunagar as such. The key problem is we work with communities, grassroots work communities in considerable numbers. So an experience of where we had an urban people to have a group of Madurai Malli because of its long time of fragrance and a bigger stock is there in terms of its thing. That are the distinct features which we wanted to highlight and project it, and it has the frame of thing is very high. So what we thought is, why not the producer and the consumer get linked to the whole process in terms of having a better price, a better income for the poor people as such. So that was the dream as such. Believe it or not. more than 8 years have passed. We are not in a position to penetrate the market, which is already having them as a indebted, the poor farmers are indebted to them. Despite giving them a better price, they are unable to move from the market users as such. So GI tag per se does not give you any answers or solutions as such. The market plays a very big role in terms of trying to get the legitimate due for it. Despite having producer and consumer both equally at both of us at our end, and also the end user, we were not in a position to move even a 1% or whatever 5.1% also in that. It requires a continuous efforts to break the market through a small actions. But it requires a tapas to do that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
Veluswami.
Veluji,
Yeah.
please.
Uh, Really, we expected a storm in the teacup, but what came was a gentle breeze. We never expected that within the teacup, these many things are hidden. You have brought all the factors of production, land, labor, capital, and organization, everything in a single teacup. It is indeed, it is not everyone's cup of tea, but really it's very good. Thank you very much for your kind inputs.
Thank you.
I'd like to add something here. You see, last year there were heavy landslides in Wayanad area in Kerala, and things are now coming into light that these Britishers used to mine for gold in that region, and Munnar and other places. So Wayanad only. So what happened was when they found that this gold processing was extremely costly for so many reasons, what they did was whatever the mining was done, they started growing tea plants there. And then all these years, we used to think that these Britishers have done a great favor by planting tea and making us addicted to tea. But then we found that these mines are now giving way to water bodies inside. They are called as, I think, inside the landing. So that is the one which caused this havoc in Wayanad last year. So Wayanad. So basically, even the tea plantation itself can cause a very great tragedy. That was an example in Wayanad last year.
A good example.
I have one question for Ajay.
Sure.
Ajay, yeah, in your all these sustainability efforts and AI related development, are you connected with this minimalism? That is another thing which is now getting very popular. So, are you connected with those activities or activists where you can combine your you can combine your synergies for achieving this?
Yeah, while I know about it and I know about the philosophy, I'm not directly connected with it. But thank you for bringing this up.
Okay.
Ajay thanks a lot. I don't know whether you have visited Kanyakumari. If not, or even otherwise, you are welcome to Kanyakumari with your family.
Very much.
We have a very big campus. We can accommodate about 1,000 Ajayjis in our campus.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Not
very
only
much for
that,
the invitation.
you would love to see our work in the field of environment and ecology. So we
Sure.
have a technology resource center, which is about 3 kilometers from the main campus.
Hmm.
And last 40 years, we are working on sustainable development. And when nobody was talking about the green technologies, we started our work with green technologies in the field
Right.
of construction, water management, health, and agriculture.
Wonderful.
And now people have started using vocabulary and uh, whatever, so many 17 sustainable development goals and all that. But we are happy that we started this work, but we have to go a long way. I'm really happy to listen to you, such a illuminating talk. And we'll be happy to associate with you as well as with your organization as well in future. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for now. I
Over to
will.
Raghu for prayer.
Oh. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित्
कश्चित्
दुःखभाग्
दुःखभाग् भवेत्।
ॐ
ॐ
शान्ति
शान्तिः
शान्ति
शान्तिः
शान्ति
शान्तिः।
Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.